Wax start recording, and hello, how y'all doing? I'm gonna get my glove on. Now, I have spent the last couple of days watching Hazbin Hotel. I'm not finished with it. I've watched the first 6 episodes. I haven't watched the last 2. But, yeah, I've watched the first 6 episodes, and I don't really want to, discuss the drama that people are talking about with Vivzy Pop. And whether or not a particular episode glorified certain things. I think it's kind of obvious, really, from the show that it's trying to be kind of edgelordy and shit. And it's trying to do, outrageous, messed up things. But the important part is that in the course of watching this show, I was struck with an urge I have never had before, and that was the urge to make fan art. I just absolutely adore Charlie. She's awesome, and because she's awesome, I don't have an appropriate layer selected, and because she's awesome, I've been kind of messing around drawing her here and there. Which has been an interesting thing, because I don't know what it is about Charlie Morningstar that makes me go, oh, I want to draw this character. But one of the things that I found interesting was that just that urge hit me as I was watching the show, and I don't know why. I got to thinking about it. I don't know what it is about her. I don't know what it is that makes me go, oh yeah, I should draw that character. And I don't know why I've never had that impulse before. Why have I not sat there and said, oh, I want to draw Sonozaki Mion from Higurashi no Nakokoro ni. Why did I never do that? I don't have an answer for that. I'm not sure why this is the first time I've ever gone, ooh, I want to draw that character. I don't know what's special about this character or what's different about this character. So I've been kind of thinking about that, but more importantly, one of the things that I've been thinking about is there are some choices that get made on the character, which, the way they do her nose is interesting. This is not the best example of that. There's a little reference sheet somebody did. It has all of the colors and whatnot, the skin, the hair, suit, cheeks, tongue, hair, swoop, pants, eye color, all of that sort of thing. They got everything listed here. And there's a shirt and shoe white, and there's also a skin white, and there's a hair white. And that's all really kind of interesting, because the whites are all just a little bit different. Okay? And it's you can see if you look down here in the corner at the color wheel, okay? If you look over in that bottom left corner, then you can see that the white for the hair is very yellow, okay? And it's got the hues up here in that yellow area. But then you come over to the white for the skin. The white for the skin is in more of an orange area, but it's very, very white. And then you come over here to the other white, which is for the shirt and the shoes, and that's over in the red area. So they kind of do this little yellow, orange, red thing in the hue department, but they're all white. They're all so close to white, I can't see the difference between them. And it's odd to me that they would do this, but that's, you know, that's important. I'm sure somebody else can see the difference. I can't. But I thought that was particularly interesting. And the other thing I'm noticing, the eyes, they do her eyes in a kind of a triangular teardrop shape, where there's a corner on the inside near the nose. It's kind of a bug eye shape. But I've been noticing that. And I've been just kind of messing around, drawing Charlie for no particular reason. And I'm not sure what it is about her that interests me so much. The way they do the teeth is interesting as well. It's just kind of minimal. There's this minimalist sort of thing they do where they've got the canine on either side, and then they've just got a flat space in between. So really, it's not even. It's not even necessary to do a whole lot of detail in there, and it reads really well. And I'm really kind of impressed with that. I'm also really impressed with how they've done the nose. And there's all kinds of just like little interesting aspects to the character design. Then I find it, it's everywhere, it's everywhere. But I've been kind of messing around with that, and I've been also doing I've been doing a lot of work with blending. Like over the course of the week, I had all of this stuff that I did with shading. Where let me open this up. Where I went through and I did 100 different takes at blending colors. And I started off, I was just kind of blending to white. And then I started blending between two different colors. And then I just kind of continued that blend between two different colors thing for a while. And I did some work on skin tones here, but then I went back to just kind of random colors. I went through, and here I tried to do a kind of, that bit right there, I tried to do a horizontal blend. That didn't work out too well. And then I did 2 entire sheets of nothing but skin tones. And I tried to do kind of darker, more violet-y shading on these. But it's, all of this blending, I've been talking for a while about blending is something that I need to work on. And I went through and I did a bunch of this stuff. And that was productive and interesting. I feel like I learned something from it. But then on Friday, I watched that first episode of Hazbin Hotel, and I started doing all kinds of weird stuff. And I did a couple of different takes at drawing Charlie, which were not great. And then I did another one, and that one kind of came out better. But I have been messing around with this kind of all day. And trying to kind of get a handle on it. And figure out, like, what exactly is it that I like about this? What is it that makes me go, oh, I want to do fan art of this character? I don't do a very good job of the fan art, but yeah, it's not something that I've ever really encountered before. But I do like kind of working on the individual bits and pieces of it, like this swoop in the hair, which is really kind of interesting. You get this kind of swoop going on. And then up under there, you get this kind of raspberry color. But over top of it, you get this overarching swoop. And then that has this kind of... The tricolor shading is interesting to me. Because, seal that off there. And then it's in the middle, and then the sides are yellow. And it's interesting to me how all of that fits together. I need to get better at this selecting the color I want process. This comes down and around, and then here we've got the eye that kind of gets in the way there, but then this loops around. And that is where we get the black band that separates the groups of hair. And she's got two of those. And there's kind of a little shag bit at the end there. And all of this kind of gets overrun with oh crap. Did all of that on the wrong layer. But all of that gets kind of overrun with this and kind of do this yellow to start with, and then you can bring in these stripes. And actually we could alpha protect. And then draw the stripes with a little bit more panache. And once all those are done, you just kind of grab that, grab the white, and you just kind of do that central stripe that goes down the middle in there. And we can, unprotect alpha. But I've been kind of working on that and messing around with the concept, and let's grab that and go back to this, and we'll... That's not a great eye. That eye needs to be much larger. So we got kind of that thing going on, and there's they do this really kind of interesting bit with how her face is defined, how the shape is defined by the location of the nose. The location of that nose kind of gives a 3D feel to the face without actually being 3D. Which I also find fairly interesting. There's a fairly substantial cheekbone, and that swoops down and over. There's the neck, and all of that is just kind of subsumed. That should really be farther up. Yeah. Or perhaps I'm just making the face too small. In which case I should... Oh, I've got... Okay, let's grab that and pull it out. And we'll switch back over here. Let's expand that out. I'm not really liking the way this one is turning out. There we go, that's not bad. Fix that edge over there, and then we'll do a little erasing there, and a little in there. And then we need the tongue. And at this point, we can kind of go in and... Ooh. Yeah. I've done everything on like messed up layers and whatnot. I've done partially on a vector layer and partially on a... I'm honestly not sure what it is about these characters that makes me want to draw them. The position of the nose makes it look 3D even though it's not. And that's interesting. I'll put that in. We get the little swoop there. Let's clean up a little here. Ooh. I'm doing a great job on this, but I'm just kind of flopping it out there and seeing what happens. If you think about it, this kind of gives a simplified skull here. Well, you can just draw a sort of simplified mouth. And then cut out kind of a space for the bottom teeth like that. And you've basically got a skull shape. That's actually a working cartoon skull. That works pretty well, actually. That's not bad at all. Fairly silly, but that does actually work. I wonder if the difference is like a sense of ability, like if I look at something like if I jump into my reference folder and I look at I go and I look at, say, Sonozaki Mion. If I look at like the Studio Dean artwork for Higurashi no Nakukoro ni, I look at that. I don't feel like I could do that. That looks too complex for me. That looks like something I couldn't paint, like I couldn't draw. That's outside of my ability to draw. I kind of look at that and I go, no, that's not, I couldn't do that. But when I look at this, I go, oh yeah, that's something I could do. That's within my abilities. That's something that I could manage. And I wonder if that's the real difference when I'm watching Hazbin Hotel. If I look at it and go, I could draw that. That's a thing that I could draw. And then I'm compelled to wonder, like, is is it good for me to go and draw this stuff, or is it counterproductive? Like, am I slumming? Am I not drawing all the way at the edge of my ability? But then on the other end of things, I sit there and I go, well, it's important to enjoy what you're drawing, and it's very frustrating to try and draw things at the edge of your ability all the time, to try and improve by drawing things that are hard for you to draw, that force you to push and stretch your abilities. This is one of the things that I came across with the Draw a Box challenge, which I ultimately abandoned because I was like, this is not something that works for me. But and I'm not saying it's not something that works. It's not something that works for me because of who I am as a person. Not because of what it is as a course, but because of who I am as a person. One of the things they say in that course is they say that you should spend half of your time working on stuff that improves your abilities and half of your time working on stuff that you think is fun. So working on stuff that I think is fun, like this actually, I don't know what it is. I do not know why I look at this. You know, there's another thing. Another thing I watched not too long ago was The Amazing Digital Circus. And the thing about The Amazing Digital Circus is I watched that, and I do really like Pomni. But here's the thing. When I look at Pomni, I don't want to draw fan art of Pomni. I don't know why. It's not that she would be particularly difficult to draw. Is it just that she's computer generated and not hand animated? Is that what it is? But then, you know, the hand drawn thing, Sonozaki Mion is hand drawn, and this is Mion and Shion. Which one is which depends on where you are in the series. And which direction you've chosen to go with it. But, you know, the Sonozaki sisters, they're hand-drawn. Why don't I feel a compulsion to draw them? And why don't I want to make fan art of them? I mean, it's not that I dislike the idea of making fan art of these characters. It's just that they don't make me think I could do that. And this doesn't make me think I should do that. Like, how hard would it be to draw Pomni? She doesn't look that difficult, really. I think I could probably get the basics of that fairly quickly. But, and that's what really kind of gets me, is looking at this and going, why Charlie? Why does Charlie Morningstar make me go, I want to do fan art of that, when Sonozaki Mion doesn't? And Pomni doesn't. And that's very strange to me. Because typically when I see a character that I like in a show, my immediate impulse is not, I want to draw that character. That's not what I typically think. I do not look at Sonozaki Mion and think, I want to draw her. That's not what I want to do with Mion. Oh, I want to do something, but it's not drawing. And Pomni, I find Pomni really interesting because there has been this trend, and I like this trend. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing it. There's been this trend in modern animation where they're desexualizing characters. They're managing to do female characters that are not sexual and not sexualized, and they're not held up as objects for desire or lust. I think probably the earliest version of this that I saw was Coraline. Coraline is not sexy, like not even remotely sexy. And that's really good. You shouldn't think Coraline's sexy. She's like, what, 9 or 10? Something like that. But, you know, like, look at that expression. Look at that expression. That is a flirty expression. But it's not sexy. It's not a sexy expression. Because Coraline's not sexy. She's a thoroughly desexualized character. Pomni is also a thoroughly desexualized character, partially by being vaguely shapeless from the clothes that she's wearing, not having emphasis put on her body. Charlie Morningstar, I find Charlie Morningstar strongly desexualized. There's nothing sexy about this character. And obviously, the Sonozaki sisters, this is anime. Anime is like inherently sexualized. That's the nature of the medium. But you know, all of these, okay, is like Coraline, Pomni, Charlie Morningstar, they're desexualized. And the interesting thing is that Charlie Morningstar is a sexual character. She has a relationship with Vaggie, and that's a whole nother can of worms. But you know, she has a girlfriend. She's in a relationship, and yet that relationship, while it clearly is a romantic sexual relationship, it's not a horny relationship. And it's not that the series isn't horny, because holy shit, is Angel Dust a horny character. But the horniness of the series doesn't really leak into Charlie, who's kind of a Pollyanna sort of character in the way that she reacts to everything. And I'm only on episode 6. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes. I have heard some criticism of the series that I may not entirely understand because I haven't watched the 7th and 8th episodes. But people are saying that there are issues with how Vivian Medrano tells a story. And I agree, there are. It's uneven, and it's ambiguous in a lot of ways. But I feel like some amount of that is intentional. And I also think that that some people are just kind of missing the point of the show. And I kind of ran into this with people on Starfield too, because people play Starfield and they complain that the game is repetitive, when the entire point of the game is to be repetitive. It has a new game plus. You're going to repeat the game over and over again. It's supposed to be repetitive. And people go, no, it's repetitive within the same game. Yeah, it is. You go to the same temples over and over and over again. You go to 24 different temples. You go to at least 6 different caves and caverns to track down artifacts. You go to a bunch of installations on planets, and you go to an abandoned cryogenic facility over here, and there's a door that's locked, and you need a key, and the key is on one of the corpses of a scientist, and you have to find the corpse that has the key on it. And then on another planet, halfway across the galaxy, you find another abandoned cryogenic facility, and the same door is locked and requires a key, and you have to find the corpse of the scientist that has the key. And it's the same corpse in the same place. A lot of people get upset about that, and they go, that's repetitive, and that pulls me out. That's not immersive. I think that's intentional. I think they do that on purpose. I think that's supposed to be like, even within the context of the game, I think that's supposed to be a moment of deja vu. I think you're supposed to go, I've been here before. I've done this before. And I think things like that are built into the system over and over again all the way through, because you do go back to the same places you've been and the same things you've done and the same quests that you've completed. And you just do that over and over again. And I think that's like part of the point in Starfield. And I think a lot of people don't get that. And they go, no, that's bad design. It's not bad design. You're not getting what they're saying. And that's a very important thing in media critique, is whenever you see something that's not what you expected, it's valid to ask, is this something they did badly? Did they do a bad job? Did they fuck up? But it's also important to ask, what if this is on purpose? If they did this on purpose, what would that mean? And if you ask that question about Starfield, I perceive it as fairly profound. So the question is, am I going to give the team at Bethesda credit for being fairly profound in their design and implementation of the game? Or am I going to presume that they're incompetent and fucked everything up? I like Bethesda games, so I'm not going to presume that they're incompetent and fucked everything up. I'm going to give them the credit and go, okay, I'm going to say that this is fairly profound and they did this on purpose. But that is me, and there are a lot of people out there who just want to call developers names and be a jerk. I don't do that because I am a developer. But one of the things that I'm seeing in Hazbin Hotel is I'm kind of seeing this thing. I'm seeing this theme where, and again, I'm only 3/4 of the way through the first season. I'm looking at it, and something that a lot of people are calling out as a problem with the story, they're saying Charlie Morningstar has gone all in on this hotel, which all the way at the beginning of season 1. And she's gone all in on, we're going to do this thing, and we're going to redeem the souls of people that were damned to hell, and we're going to get them into heaven. And then she goes and has a meeting with the folks in heaven, one of the folks in heaven. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but she goes and has a meeting, and at the meeting, you find out she doesn't actually have clearance for this, and nobody knows what she's doing. She hasn't sought any kind of permission, and whether this is even possible is something that she's not even invested any time or energy in looking into. And people are just like, what is she doing? She doesn't even know what she's doing. Yeah, that's who she is. I mean, it's kind of clear to me from the first 5 minutes of the show that she's got her head in the clouds and she's like, I can do anything I set my mind to. And she has no idea what is and isn't possible or how to do things. And that's part of the story. It's part of the story that she has no idea whether this is even something that can be done. I think it was in episode 3 that Vaggie told her outright, we don't even know whether souls can be redeemed, let alone what we have to do to make it happen. And people are acting like that's this grand oversight, and I just feel like they're not paying any fucking attention. That stuff is there. It's in the show. It's in the story. They're actually talking about it, and nobody is paying any attention. Wait. She has eyebrows. Does she have eyebrows here? I don't think she does. She doesn't. There are no eyebrows here. What about in the other reference here? She has eyebrows here, but this is the old design. That's the old original design. Here's the current design, and she's still got eyebrows here. That's interesting. This is apparently before she had her bound up hair. But she had her bound up hair here. Man, I've got reference images from 3 different stages in the design process. This is one of the problems when artists put their entire work process online. I went looking for a character reference sheet for Charlie, and I didn't find one. The closest I got was this first bit over here. This first one. That's the closest I got to an original model sheet. And the more I look at it, the more I think this isn't from an official source. The more I think this is itself puppet cheek color. Puppet? Why puppet hairline color? Eyelash, brow, and eye. I don't know. I'm not sure whether this is from an official source or not. There's one tie on there. It's a cute little sheepish expression she's got there. The nose is kind of a dot and not the triangle that it's turned into. Just become a sort of squashed down narrow triangle. I'm going to have to do more research on that. I'm going to have to do more practice on this. I mean, for God's sake, I should be... I still do not know exactly what it is that interests me so much about Charlie specifically. But it's interesting being in this place and kind of seeing this happen and asking why it happened and musing over it. It does seem like people are very, very quick to jump on the idea that someone has made a mistake or done a bad job, and they won't even give them the benefit of the doubt, let alone enough credit to say, maybe that's what they wanted to do. Maybe this is on purpose. And I feel like that's part of what Vivian's dealing with in terms of the drama around it. As people go, oh, she's glorifying this particular thing. And I don't think she is. I think... I think she's dealt with absolutely every subject the series has dealt with in a reasonable and sensible fashion. I don't know. I don't really have anything all that interesting to say about it at this point. I'm not really going anywhere in particular with this discussion. But anyway, that's where things are. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And okay, bye.